All right, guys, welcome. I do want to go ahead and say that I love SQL. It's one of my favorite things. With that, just jumping right in. The first scenario here, I just want to know how many tables I'm going to manage for each database. Super important for me to know how many we have. I picked the bowling league, the wide world importers table, and the recipes table. Um, So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and run it. I actually like using tools a lot. I'm sorry, shortcuts in this case. Instead of going up here, as you can see, you just hit F5. So I'm gonna hit F5. It's gonna run the queries for me. It's gonna go through it and it's gonna first use a specific database, and then it's gonna run what we need here. So we just need the name, the created date, and the modified date of each table. In this one, if you look over here on the right side, we have 10 rows. And this one we have 48 rows, and that is the wide world importers one. And the last one is the recipe tables one that we have down here. So if you want to get rid of it, just do Control R, F5 again, and it'll give me a total right here, 64. So super important here, and knowing how many I'm gonna manage is super important because it lets me know um, where I will need to spend most of my time learning a database. In this case, I would spend more time learning about the wide world importers database a little bit longer because it has more tables and I got to see the primary keys, foreign keys. So that is my first scenario that I have here. The next one that I have, we had a scenario where a customer had reached a certain limit in length. Looks like in Varkar reached over 100. It might seem like that's my speculation, so I'm going to check each one. And I'm going to change the name of the tables, right? Instead of just name of column, name of table, depending on the table, since I'm doing an inner join to tables, and then how long each column is, like the max length it allows, right, for the variable or the type data type. So again, F5. 47 rows in total. You see the bowling league example has first name, last name, team name, and just name. It seems like this could be one of those things that could get in the way. Max length, I don't recommend doing 100 only. I recommend 256. Seems like that's a default. Or it could be long, or it could be more, but um, we always want to have more space just for scenarios like this where we want to just make them obsolete, like they don't ever exist. And here we have a couple. Since it was first name, last name, I think it'll be something like this, or here, or a preferred name, or another full name here with the archives or whatnot. But again, it's at 100. I would do an update here for longer for sure. I would just keep the same defaults through all of them. And obviously, if you're doing an ingredient, that one's actually seemed to be doing all right, 510. So that is perfect. So now we know. And we only did so we had to do a join and a wildcard. We need to pull anything that has in a column the name of, or just name anywhere. Start, the beginning, the middle. So you do a wildcard for each and one of them to be able to pull it. So super nice. And that's what it is. So that's what I found. I found a couple that we can take a look at. See what we can do. With that, it's also really important to know which databases are the heavy hitters, which ones are going to take the longest, or just going to take more space, right? If you're going to do a backup, you can know which ones are going to take longer, of course, and just in general, maybe you just want to upgrade and you want to know where you're at. This is how you can do it. And this one's also really important because looking at the instructions here, I have to be able to show the list, the file name, the file location, and then later I have to know the total in megabytes, the size of the database that it is, and then after that I have to navigate the file explorer here. So With that, let's just get started here. So I'm going to do again bowling leagues, wide world, and recipes table. First, I want to see how many files are over or greater than 1024. There are some that are equal to 1024, but we're wanting greater. So there's going to be a few that won't come up. And here's the query that will help us pull up the information about how big a database is. You can just check the master files. There's some functions here that lets you know which database ID, and they go according to what the database you're connected here. You can change it or anything like that. But since we're using this beforehand, it'll go according to that, and then it'll switch over to this, and then it'll switch over. I believe that's like the order of operations, just to get it in there. And so you do that. You do the sum, right? 1024. That's how much is in a megabyte. So we're dividing it by that and make sure everything's good there. And yeah. So we're going to go ahead and run it. We're going to get some sizes here. So as you can see for bowling league and for the last one, which is the recipes table, we don't have a file that's bigger than 1024. It's not megabytes, it's kilobytes. And so those won't show up. But we do have two files at least, and they make up to 8 megabytes. And I'll be honest, I probably did the math wrong in my head since I'm recording the biggest one again. It's going to be this Wild Word Importers one. But just to show you how what I have here, like let's say the bowling league example, if we take a look at it, or the recipes or whichever. Let's use the bowling league one. You can just put your name or your in the file explorer. You put your mouse over it. You can see that it's 8 megabytes, and the next one, the example log, is also 8 megabytes together, 16. So yeah, that's one way to look at it. Or you can check the properties, 8 megabytes, good stuff. That's in bytes, by the way, not kilobytes. There's a ton. And so yeah, you can do the same with Wild World importers. I am for some reason missing a file. I'm not sure what happened to that, but I could be a little blind. And the last one, example here that I have to show is 2 items that I discovered in the data dictionary and why I think they're important. I am going to say to my opinion, there's a lot of them. There's some views and things like that, some functions that I think are great, but here's at least 4 that I thought were great. I want to know all the columns. I love that. I want to be able to just pull all of them and all the objects, in this case, all the databases, and I can just do a join and find out, oh yeah, this database has this many. It's very similar just to going up here on the left side and just on your object explorer and check that out. But yeah, that's why I think they're important. Another thing, since I'm going to be an admin, I want to know the logins to the database, and I also want to know who is able to perform certain things like selecting or viewing encryption stuff and encrypted stuff. So, and here we can see there's only one login to the system admin. Hopefully it doesn't show my password, so I'm just gonna keep it like that. And then yeah, here's the other things that you can also do. Like if you can execute, you can execute like store procs, store procedures, sorry, and things like that. So yeah, that's what I think. This was really great. I learned quite a lot. I love SQL, and that's why I'm here. Appreciate it.